My name is Curtis. I live in Wolverine, and I spend time nearly every week in the Pigeon River country with my son. We've got a growing YouTube channel, Old Minnow Boy, where we document a lot of our adventures in the Pigeon River country, hiking, fishing, exploring, enjoying all that it has to offer. We're members of the Pigeon River Country Association, and we've spent a lot of time at Cornwall Flooding. We love the Pigeon River country. It's really in our blood. We'll actually be at Cornwall this weekend, camping and fishing and enjoying all it has to offer, since at this moment, the future of the flooding is uncertain at best. I've had the opportunity in the last few days to research and personally speak with staff at the Michigan DNR, Huron Pines, the Pigeon River Country Advisory Council, and the Michigan Department of Environment, Great Lakes, and Energy. These conversations have been enlightening, to say the least. I wanted to take a few minutes here to share some of the information I've gathered and hopefully bring some clarity to all of the questions, comments, and concerns that are swirling around on Facebook and elsewhere. For some quick context and to bring some folks up to speed who may not be aware, the Michigan DNR put out a press release on January 18th which states that they plan to draw down the Cornwall flooding in late summer to early fall of this year, 2023, in preparation for the ultimate removal of the dam. It states that the purpose of this plan is to address public safety and infrastructure concerns. Now, Jim Dexter, who is the chief of the Michigan DNR Fisheries Division, states in that press release, he says this, and I quote, "The DNR recognizes the recreational importance of Cornwall flooding, but protecting the public safety of area visitors and everyone living downstream is our top priority. We have sought funding in recent years to lower the water and complete safety modifications, all while retaining the impoundment. While we were able to secure limited funding, it wasn't enough to renovate the dam, due in part to the rising costs of construction." End quote. So, as of now, late January 2023, the plan of the Michigan Department of Natural Resources is to begin drawing down the water level later this year and begin seeking grant funding for removal of the dam and the ultimate elimination of Cornwall flooding. So, with that context out of the way, there's a lot to unpack here. This is not a simple issue. It's complicated, it's complex in multiple ways. I wish that it wasn't. I wish it was just as simple as, hey, let's start a GoFundMe, let's pass a plate and have a collection, let's raise the money needed to fix the dam. There's thousands of people who love Cornwall, right? If everyone just pitches in a little, we can get it done. Again, I wish it was that easy, but unfortunately, there's more to it than that. So, that being the case, there's too much to cover here all at once. I could talk here for an hour and put you to sleep and probably put myself to sleep, but I'll likely break this into a couple videos at least, but let's just start with number one, the responsibility aspect. The Cornwall Flooding Dam is one of over 200 dams across the state owned, managed, and maintained by the Michigan Department of Natural Resources. However, the DNR doesn't have the ultimate authority over the dams that they own. That ultimate authority resides with the Michigan Department of Environment, Great Lakes, and Energy, referred to as EGLE. It's commonly referred to as EGLE. Prior to April 2019, EGLE was known as the Department of Environmental Quality, or the DEQ. So, EGLE is the organization that has the ultimate authority over the Cornwall Flooding Dam. They enforce the Natural Resources and Environmental Protection Act of 1994, Act 451, and they do that enforcement through their EGLE Dam Safety Program. This program requires dam inspections to take place every 3 to 5 years. These inspections then assign a dam's condition assessment as one of 4 levels: satisfactory, fair, poor, or unsatisfactory. Now, the last completed inspection at Cornwall took place in September of 2019, and Cornwall was given a condition assessment of poor. That's one step above the lowest condition assessment of unsatisfactory. Now, I spoke with EGLE earlier today. The new 3-year inspection did just take place in December last month. However, the final inspection report, it's still being prepared. It should be complete within a month. The EGLE representative I spoke with stated that the 2022 inspection results are very similar to the 2019 report. The dam condition's obviously not improving on its own, and it will continue to decline unless repaired. So I suspect that after the 2022 inspection results are finalized, the condition assessment is likely going to remain poor, or it could potentially even be downgraded to unsatisfactory. We'll just have to wait and see. So, in addition to the dam condition assessment, EGLE also gives every dam what they call a downstream hazard potential rating of either low, significant, or high. Now, Cornwall is classified with a downstream hazard potential of high. Now that means that in the event of a dam breach or collapse, there would be imminent danger to human life downstream. When I questioned Eagle staff on how that downstream hazard potential is assigned, they stated it's based on FEMA guidelines and FEMA analysis of breach models. Personally, I struggle to understand why Cornwall would have a high downstream potential hazard as it relates to danger to human life, but I admittedly have zero experience with dam breach analysis or models, no education in that regard. However, I did use some simple online tools to measure Pigeon River distances. I confirmed that the nearest 2 residential dwellings, which I believe to be seasonal, they're over 5 miles downstream from the dam. But both of them are located just over a half mile from the Webb Road Bridge, if you're familiar with the area. Beyond that, it's actually an additional 5 miles to the 3rd and 4th residential dwellings. And then still further downstream, around 12 miles from the Cornwall Dam, you do finally get into a significant number of full-time residences near the Afton Road Bridge and obviously the M68 bridge. So I share all of that to say, personally, I'm skeptical that even in the event of a full-scale dam collapse, the water released from the flooding would not be absorbed by over 10 miles of expansive river bottom. Tin Bridge Road, just below the dam, obviously would be completely wiped out. The ecological impacts on the Pigeon River downstream would most certainly be severe for many, many years. It would be a disaster ecologically for sure. However, my point is that the downstream potential hazard rating that Eagle gives, and that rating of high for Cornwall, it requires imminent danger to human life, and personally, I have a hard time wrapping my head around that. Anyway, to wrap up this video, why are those 2 items, the Cornwall condition assessment and the downstream hazard potential, why are they important to this conversation? Well, they're important because those 2 factors very likely play a key role in determining the urgency with which Eagle and the Michigan DNR move forward with their current plans to eliminate Cornwall flooding. As mentioned earlier, there are hundreds of dams across the state being evaluated and managed. And like an emergency room, right? Cases are triaged and prioritized by an assessment of the risk level. So I dug into some of the data here. There are currently over 80 dams across the state with that same poor condition assessment rating that Cornwall has. However, only 9 dams across the entire state share the combination of not only a poor condition assessment rating, but also a high downstream hazard potential. Now, of those 9 that meet both of those 2 criteria, guess how many are owned and managed by the Michigan DNR? Only 2. The Trowbridge Dam in Allegan County and Cornwall Flooding. I'm going to continue to research, learn, and share more about the situation in the coming weeks. And as I mentioned at the beginning, this is a complex topic. There's plenty to talk about. So feel free to leave your thoughts in the comments section below. Let me know if I've gotten anything wrong. I'm absolutely open to that. I enjoy the conversation. Subscribe to this YouTube channel if you don't want to miss any of the conversation in the coming weeks. Next week, I'm planning to talk about money. How much is there? How much might it take to save Cornwall? And where could it come from? Thanks for watching. Looking forward to continued conversation. Take care.